They said she was just another tired woman behind a bar counter, someone who'd never stand up to trouble until the night trouble came looking for her. Folks around here still talk about that night like it was out of a movie because once it started, there was no turning back. The place was Maddie's Roadhouse, a small town bar off a two-lane highway in Georgia. The regulars were used to cheap beer, a jukebox that skipped sometimes, and Maddie herself, quiet, steady, a black woman who didn't waste words but always noticed more than people thought. She'd been wiping down glasses when the door swung open and the sound of heavy boots hit the wood floor. A biker gang stormed in, loud, drunk, the kind of men who came not to drink but to own the room. At first, nobody wanted trouble. Heads went down, conversations hushed. But Maddie's eyes never flinched. She gave them the same calm look she gave everyone, and maybe that's what set them off. One of the bikers, a tall guy with a crooked grin, slammed his beer mug so hard against the counter, it shattered spraying glass. The jukebox cut off mid-song. You could feel the air tighten. "Hey, sweetheart," he sneered, leaning too close. "How about you smile for us? Show some manners." Maddie kept her voice low, steady. "I think you've had enough for tonight. Maybe it's time you head out." The bar went silent. You could almost hear hearts pounding. This was the South, and a black woman telling a white biker what to do, that was like lighting a match in dry grass. He laughed loud, ugly, and before anyone could move, he grabbed Maddie's shirt and yanked. The fabric ripped, the sound cutting through the bar like a whip crack. Gasps rose. Maddie staggered back and her hand pressing her chest, but her eyes didn't break. That's when the whole bar saw it. Ink stretched across her shoulder, curling down her arm, the bold crest of the U.S. Army Rangers. Not some pretty design, not a tattoo for show. This was urn carved in sweat and blood. The biker froze mid-laugh, his grip slipping. His buddies stopped smirking, because in that instant they realized Maddie wasn't some powerless woman behind a counter. She was a soldier, a warrior, someone who'd seen more than they ever could imagine. She straightened, shirt torn but chin high, and her voice cut sharp. "You want to play tough? Try me." For a heartbeat, no one breathed. The biker tried to cover his fear with a grin. "That tattoo don't scare me." But his voice cracked. Maddie stepped closer, slow and deliberate. "This ink isn't meant to scare you," she said. "It's a reminder I've fought real battles. Men tougher than you didn't walk away." The gang shifted uncomfortably, glancing at one another. The regulars who'd been frozen in fear started to stir. You could see it, something changing. The balance in the room tipped. Maddie wasn't the victim anymore. She was the center of gravity. One of the younger bikers muttered, "Let's go, man. She ain't worth it." The leader shot him a glare, but the cracks were showing. Maddie leaned in closer, voice dropping to a whisper that carried anyway. "You put your hands on me again, and you'll learn exactly what a ranger does when cornered." The biker pulled back, hands raised just enough to show retreat. But Maddie wasn't done. She stepped around the counter, standing in the middle of the floor. Her presence filled the space, calm, controlled, dangerous. She looked each one of them in the eye. "You want to terrorize somebody? Not here, not tonight. This bar belongs to me, and these people are under my roof. You got a problem with that, you can take it outside." Nobody moved, and then slowly the bikers began to back out. Boots scraped on the floor, curses muttered under their breath, but none of them dared touch her again. When the door slammed shut behind them, the bar let out the breath it had been holding. Maddie exhaled too, finally. She wasn't shaking. She wasn't broken. She just looked around at the faces staring at her, regular folks who'd always assumed she was small, invisible, and someone easy to overlook. They saw her differently now. One old man at the corner table whispered, "Lord have mercy." "We didn't know," Maddie gave him a tired smile. "That's the thing," she said quietly. "You never really know what someone's carrying until life rips the cover off." The jukebox started back up on its own, a scratchy country song filling the silence. People clapped, hesitant at first, then stronger. Not just for what she'd done, but for who she was. Later that night when Maddie locked up, she stood in the dark parking lot staring at the stars. Her shirt was ruined, but her dignity wasn't. She thought about the years she'd buried that part of herself, trying to live quiet, trying not to stir the past. But sometimes the past walks right into your bar, smashes a glass, and forces you to remember who you are. And maybe, just maybe, that wasn't such a bad thing. So here's the question, and I want you to really think about it. When you see someone behind a counter sweeping a floor serving you a drink, do you truly know who they are? Or are you just looking at the surface, assuming you have got them figured out? Maddie's story proves that the quietest people can carry the loudest battles inside. Now, I'll throw it to you, was Maddie right to stand her ground that way? Or should she have let it slide for her own safety? And deeper than that, how many times have we all misjudged someone only to realize later we had no clue what they'd survived? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I promise you this is a conversation worth having.